Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another video, and this video right here is sponsored once again by those absolutely fantastic people over at GEMR, which without a single doubt have been massive friends of the channel for so long now. Just in case you're not familiar with who GEMR are or what GEMR is a social platform for collectors, so you can upload your collection, share it with other like-minded collectors, including me right here. And as for this video right here, if you've clicked on it, you might be wondering what is going on. So right now over on GEMR, they're running a club war, which is pitting the Transformers Club versus the Gundam Club. As in which is better, Transformers or Gundam? So if you want to take part in that club war, there is a link down there in the description. If you click that, you can choose between the two, Transformers Club or Gundam Club. And for taking part, you'll be entered into a giveaway to win what I'm reviewing right now, which is the Dual Model Kit Optimus Prime. And my favorite kit of this year so far, well, we'll see about that. But that is the real grade Nu Gundam. So if you want to be in to win both of these kits, once again, just take part in the club war through that link in the description. Now let's get to this review. And speaking about this review, I'm going to have to give this a bit of a lead-in because this is my first time ever taking a look at a kit like this. I have taken a look at Transformers kits before, but this one's a little bit special because it's somewhat like a Gundam high-resolution kit, but I will mention in advance, this kit right here is a project. Out of the box, this does not come out good at all. So a lot of this review will be taken from the perspective of the out-of-box build, which does not focus that well on this kit's strongest aspects, which of course is its looks. So out of the box, this kit has its issues. But with a little bit of effort, this kit could really shine. For example, I saw a review of this on Amazon Japan that said, if you build Bandai's kits, this is gonna shock you. But they still give it a 5-star rating when you put that extra effort in. But anyway, let's just check it out. So first up right here, we've got the box. On the front there, we've got Optimus Prime himself. And this version, of course, is from Transformers Dark of the Moon. I will mention, I have never seen it. Up in the top right-hand corner there, we've got that Takara Tomy logo. Of course, they make trains, etc. in Japan, as well as the little armory guns. And flipping around to the side here, we can see what comes in the box. So this is a figure inner frame with some armor on the outside, which sounds a little bit similar to something. Yeah, high-resolution gunpla. But I just noticed right here, this figure slash model kit is from 2011. So this is 8 years old and predates high-resolution gunpla by a whopping 5 years. So that is definitely interesting. So around on the other side then, we've got some info and pictures of what to expect in here. We've got that inner frame, a couple of action poses of Optimus, or wait a minute, they don't call him Convoy in the Japanese version of the American movie, no? Oh, never mind. But anyway, we've got some action poses, some weapons, that's the battle blades, and over on the other side here we see some other different aspects of the detail of this figure slash model kit, which is the two different versions of the face, the battle mask, and that variant that is the open face, and there's some front and back detail, but that is enough about the box. Let's see what's actually in here. First off, through that little window in the front of the box, you can see the inner frame itself, some of the runners. So we do have some printed detail on here already, which is pretty cool. But anyway, let's get it out of here so we can see what we've got. So this right here is absolutely everything that comes in the box. That is the inner frame itself, which is very nicely detailed. We'll mention, so far it does feel a little bit on the loose side. This may tighten up with the parts attached, I'm not sure yet, but we'll find out. And we have a pile of, and according to the box, 15 runners. So that is quite a bit of plastic to build onto this thing. The instructions in here seem straightforward enough. If you've built any sort of model kit, gunpla, kotobukiya, anything like that, then this should be fairly straightforward to follow. And we also get this set right here of water slide transfers. I assume these are the same as the ones we can see on the parts already, these ones right here, which are already printed onto the parts, which is pretty cool. So I can only assume these ones right here are for using if you paint the kit, but I guess we'll see as we go through this. So finally, there's what the dual model kit Optimus Prime looks like once it's put together, and I'm not gonna lie, all through building this, I despised this thing. I hated it. Absolutely, utterly, to my core, hated this thing. And I will mention a little bit more about the build later on, but just to get it off my desk, I put it up on my shelf, and immediately I saw this thing's virtue. Up on your shelf, this thing looks absolutely and utterly badass. It looks so damn good. The proportions, all the detail, everything. For a minute, all its imperfections and all the things I didn't like about it just blew right out the window. So before I get into anything else about the aesthetics, etc., here it is side by side with the other kit that I'm giving away. That, of course, is the real grade Nu Gundam, and as you can see, Optimus Prime completely and utterly outshines it when it comes to shelf presence. And I mean literally just standing up there on the shelf. So size-wise, this is a little more akin to the Master Grade Nu Gundam. This is the Nu Gundam Verka, but then again, detail-wise and shelf presence-wise, I might say the Optimus does stand out a little bit more, but that might be because of all the Gundam-related stuff that's on my shelf. This dual model kit definitely packs in a more busy, detailed design, but I'm not going to get into that classic versus Neo Transformers argument thing because, honestly, don't care. But for me, there is absolutely no denying whatsoever that the Optimus here looks absolutely ridiculously savage. But onto the other aspects. So anyway, here we are back to the review desk. There he is, and I am not going to touch this. For all the aesthetics and all that sort of stuff, I'm not going to touch it because, without a doubt, it will break. So I'm going to do this in real time instead of cutting away. I'm going to try and put it onto this in case it does fall apart and you can see what's going on, so I don't have to put it all together and go absolutely and utterly mad. And on that topic, and this thing is absolutely filthy, I need to clean this. A lot of people ask me what is this spinny base thing, and this is a Mr. Turntable L from this here. GSI Krios, maybe? This thing is fantastic and has lasted me years. But anyway, let's try and get him on it. Okay, easy does it. Oh, see? Teeter, 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 teeter. Come on. Hopefully it won't slide on the glass. Okay. Let's get a spin in. But anyway, here is a quick spin of the finished kit, or should I say action figure cum kit. And I will apologize straight off the bat about the fact that there is no poses, because poses don't come as a standard with this kit because, well, again, I'll talk about that later. But once again, I'm giving this a spin because I'm not really one much to talk about how this looks because, again, I'm not so familiar with the non-80s version of Optimus Prime. Popping onto Google and having a quick look at some of the other statues and figures that are available, the first thing I notice is, well, they're all metallic. This is not. They're also quite a bit chunkier looking than this right here. But then again, Takara Tomy is a Japanese brand, so it wouldn't be all that unusual for the Japanese to slim something down a little bit, make it a little bit more streamlined looking. But all in all, besides that, I'm just going to talk about the model kit as it is. At first, I was a little bit sus about the chrome painted bits on this, but from a distance, they don't actually look all that bad. Get in real close and just like this little piece you can see right here, sorry about the wiggle, but that has a little chunk missing out of it from where you cut it off the runners or sprues, depending on what you want to call them. And in some places, like right there on that tank, it is rocking some absolutely wicked mold lines. And once again, because they're chromed out, that means that is paint, so those can't be cleaned up without stripping them completely. But besides all that belly aching, its looks are definitely its strongest aspect. It does look awesome, all the parts all look very nicely detailed. And for me, once again, the best aspect are the proportions. That narrow waist to massive shoulder ratio just looks absolutely and utterly epic. We do have some clear parts like you can see in the little windscreen sections. The tires are made out of a rubbery kind of plastic, I guess rubber. And all in all, like I mentioned already, the decals are already applied, already painted onto all of those sections you can see, so this is the way it comes out of the box. So out of the box, it does look pretty awesome. Once again, it's not metallic like I guess it should be, but that gets me to another point I'm gonna make in a minute. But anyway, as we've talked about this thing, and I still haven't taken it off that rotating base, the build of this thing is absolutely horrendous. There's no better word for it. So straight away, if there's even one thing you take away from this review, is that you can only do two things with this right here. And that is, make it into a statue. Just put it in a pose and glue it all together. Another thing I'll mention right here is, I've made some faux fists here because the fingers I have left in these little bags, and that's because they always fall off. And this thing is just like a marionette. If you put strings on his wrists and on his ankles, you could probably dance him around a bit. But he does stand up out of the box, but that's all he can do. The other option besides just gluing this all together into a pose is make a full project out of it. Which does mean dismantling the entire action figure inner frame, tightening up all the joints, and then gluing absolutely everything to it. And while you're at that, you might as well paint it too to make it metallic. But like I mentioned multiple times already, the aesthetic aspects about this figure are its best aspect. So the basis is there for an absolutely awesome looking figure. if you put the time into tightening it up so it can actually pose, or gluing it into a statue, and then just putting the paintwork onto it and everything like that. But besides that, out of the box, I honestly don't get who this was designed for. People who want figures, people who want model kits, and it's kind of the debate I've had multiple times with myself while building any of Bandai's high-resolution model kits. It's an odd concept, really, to make it half model kit, half action figure, when both are different markets to a degree. To most degrees, actually. And while we're talking about Bandai, I might as well mention as well that this is from 2011, so it is an 8-year-old action figure come model kit. So if you were to realistically compare to Bandai's Gunpla products, once again, like the real grade Nu Gundam right here, giveaway, get in there, you would have to compare it to some kits from 2011. But anyway, speaking of 2011 Gunpla kits, when you come to something like Master Grade, we got the Rezel. Okay, there's a better example than that. We got the Wing Gundam Me W. But we Delta Plus, mine broken 5 different parts. Come on, there's gotta be, we've got the RX-0 full armor unicorn Verka. Alright, so let's talk about the build of this guy right here. So there's a whole bunch of issues, and I'm gonna go back through my mind of what they were. First off, if you need to push in some parts, especially the chrome-plated parts, these have been painted, making them too thick for the parts they're meant to slot into, so you've put a lot of pressure. A lot of things require way too much pressure, and while you're squeezing against something like this here, you have to find something on the other side to squeeze against, and it's all so fragile, so brittle, that there's nothing to actually counteract against that squeeze. So at so many different points, I've broken things, like this up here is broken off, that's why it's cocking out like that. I broke off this knee here, which is barely holding on at all, thanks to a whole heap of super glue. This waist is the worst thing in the world. Look at... I didn't do that on purpose. You know, I was actually going to say if parts start raining off, I'm not going to start sticking them back on, but this is kind of like, I can't just review a pair of Transformer pants. So this joint right here relentlessly falls out, so it's real hard to get back in. Yep, there you go. It kind of tucks in such an odd way. Ugh, real no. I mean, Optimus here must be extremely depressed because he keeps trying to give up on life on me. I just hold him and then it's like, give up. So yeah, with this kit, glue, and lots of it, is your best friend. So speaking about the build, a lot of the parts are painted already for you on the runner. So we have those decals on there, those are painted on by the feels of things. Besides that, we've got some other parts which are painted, like these here in that kind of gold color, which is pretty cool. The tires on here are rubberized, like I mentioned already, so that is a soft, pliable rubber. Also in this build, we've got polycaps, which are quite common when it comes to mecha style model kits, but these might as well not exist because they do not do what polycaps should do, and that is grip. These do not grip. Case in point, right here. And the last thing I'll mention, and probably the worst aspect about this build, is the instructions are asinine. Absolutely asinine. They tell you to build things in an order that makes no sense, making it so hard to do. For example, you build half of the head when it's already attached, like you can see right here, and it's just so hard to get everything where it should be that I had to take off the head, put all the stuff on, and then I couldn't get the head back on. Seriously, not fun to build. Seriously, go home, Optimus, you're drunk. But anyway, let's move on to talking about the hands. So, these are a pretty cool idea. I'm gonna detach them and... I didn't do that on purpose either. I swear, that just came off itself. And so did that. So now moving on to the hands and why they're like this. And why I haven't added the fingers on here is, well, I had them on already, but they just fall off. So I'm gonna stick them on anyway, and... that is what they look like with all the fingers on, and in theory, on paper, this is a great idea. Individually jointed fingers are the bomb. It means you can get any kind of pose you want out of them, but the problem with these guys is the design. All of these fingers here is a standard peg into a hole, so there is no like clip point here where they'll go on, then clip, and then stay in place. It's just literally a standard peg in a hole. They can move backwards like that if you like, and you're not going to get a pose out of these without them just literally falling apart like that. I mean, such missed potential right here. So for me, something like this is a choose your own pose hand. Basically, it's a blank template to make whatever pose you want, like this pointing pose, then glue it. Glue it in place so you don't go mad from this happening, and that just kind of shedding parts like there's no tomorrow. Goodbye. That happened again. I am not joking, that has happened again. The other arm just fell off when I was trying to put this on. This is the review that's actually going to push me over the edge. I'm gonna go crazy. Okay, I was going to move on to the accessories, but first, over here, I'm going to make the things that have fallen off pile. And while they're falling off, I'm not putting them back on. I know the hand doesn't count because I took that off, but that's going in the pile too, so this here is the corner of shame. Shame! But anyway, while I'm talking about that little pile of parts that have fallen off, I have glued the vast majority of this because halfway through the review, I knew, or should I say, I knew this thing was going to fall apart over and over and over again, so the parts that aren't falling off, like the shoulders up there, a bunch of parts on the chest, etc., all glued on. So now moving on to the accessories, and here is Optimus Prime with everything that he comes with. So essentially the only optional accessories in here is the battle blades right here. Besides that, we do have an optional faceplate, but let's take a look at everything. But anyway, as for the faceplates we get with this, that's the battle mask I've had on it the whole time, as well as the one with the mouth. In order to attach this, you'd have to take the head apart again. I glued it all together, so that's not going to be in there, so just kind of imagination it on. Next up then, we've got the battle blades. We've got a left one and a right one. These have a clear blade. This has been painted in a very, very light orange on the runner. So we have two choices here. The first is this can connect in underneath this section on the side of the arm. Pop that off. But anyway, this thing clips on here with these three little pegs and holes, like so. And then that just reattaches back on to where it came from. So that right there is what the battle blade looks like attached, and all in all, it does look pretty cool. So with these then, we do have a second option, and that is by popping off that part that had the three pegs on it, popping on this alternate part right here, and now we've got a ball joint. So that does mean that can be attached in place of the hand, and what do you know? There he goes again. But that's what that looks like there, and not a chance. Out of the box, can you hold it up? So anyway, now we're going to move on to the articulation as usual from the head down. This might get a little bit messy and this pile might get a little bit bigger. But anyway, here we go. So anyway, at the head here, we've got a double ball joint. So that does mean we do have somewhat of a giggity right here. Actually, that's a pretty good giggity. So there's the head all the way down, all the way up. So as you can see, the articulation isn't all that bad at all. Got a little rubber section in underneath and oh no. That's not going to be easy to get back on. So next up here at the clavicle part, these parts can move up and down. These are extremely delicate. I've broken this one already, so that can move up and down and in and out as well, but I'm not going to try. At the arms, these can move in and out like so. These door segments also can move out and in like that, so they don't get in the way of the arms. Next up, that full 360 spin right there. There is the arm all the way up, so that's pretty good. Of course, this is a little bit too weak to support that. Shoulder armor up here does move like so. Full rotation right here. Well, it is just a peg and a hole. There is that bend at the elbow, so that's not so bad. Not bad at all. For the wrist, I'll show you the one that is separated, and that is a ball joint there, as well as this little bending in and out segment right there. That does seem to separate the armor out if you hyper-extend it, though. Or should I say hyper-flex it. As you've... Oh, God, I'm gonna go nuts. Woo! Apart for the pile. So while it's off, you might as well see what's going on in here. This is a double polycap going on right here. One down here, one up here. And these are both way too weak. Again, this kit would be so much better if you tightened it up. And someone is gonna say, well, why didn't you tighten it up? But the reason is, I like to review things as they come, not what they could be. But anyway, right here he's got rotation that probably goes all the way around. I'm terrified to check. He does move back and forward quite a bit. If that was actually tight, this wouldn't be too bad of a joint at all. Around in the back here we've got some moving parts. This can move side to side. Doesn't seem to want to for some reason. This can flip back and forward like so. Of course, it goes without saying this thing doesn't have any transformation. The booty wheels back here, those can move in and out like so. I can already feel that waist giving up on me already. But anyway, there is the kick all the way up to the front. That's not bad. And off comes the leg. Another piece for the pile. There is the leg all the way to the back, so a little bit blocked by the booty wheels. Full rotation at the upper leg. There is the bend at the knee that is double jointed. Move this Another piece for the pile! But anyway, there is the bend at the knee. That is double jointed, and that does move the armor here, which is pretty cool. Once again, if this actually built perfectly out of the box, it might be awesome. Round on the back, this bit of armor flaps up and down. Also, as part of that bending knee I mentioned, we do have this little segment here that does move in, out, down, and up, which is pretty cool. One more time. There it is up. There it is down. The ankle, which is one of the weakest joints, has quite a bit of a range of motion. Look at that. That's nice. And there he went again. At least I don't need that part now. Woo! As for the side to side at the ankle, that's not bad at all. We do have a bunch of moving parts down here. This moves up and down like so you can change a lot of the positions of the feet. This part here can swivel side to side. We've got these side pieces here which can move up and out like so. This part here can also move up and out like so. And then these toe segments can move down and pivot up just like that. So there's a lot going on down at the feet. And guess what? The foot is solid enough. So all in all, if this kit was not pathetically loose, it might actually be able to do some nice poses. The articulation isn't that bad, but it's just going to need a lot of work. So that right there is it for the review, and all I can say is this is definitely a project piece right here. It has pretty much everything it should have, but like I've said with a bunch of kits in the past, this is a concept that needed a little bit more time in the oven before it was done. This thing is half raw. The basic concept is pretty awesome, an action figure that you do build the armor onto. Once again, I do feel that action figure people are one set of people. If you're looking for an action figure, you want an action figure, and when you're looking for a model kit, you're looking for a model kit, so mixing the two is a bit of an odd concept. However, that is the biggest issue with this. Everything you build onto it, sure, it is quite delicate, and they will fall off if you don't glue them, so make sure to glue them, but the biggest issue is that inner frame action figure thing itself. It's just not ready. It's not ready for all the armor you're gonna pile onto it, so you're gonna have to disassemble that and tighten every single aspect of that up if you want a figure that can pose. Besides that though, you could always glue it into a pose permanently, which would look awesome, but the best aspects of a model kit or an action figure are there. That is the articulation and the looks. So if you're really into tinkering with your model kits, like a little bit more than just your standard out-of-box build, then this is for you. However, if you're the type that just loves to build a model kit and want it to be perfect once it's just put together, then this might not be for you. If you're like me, you're probably spoiled by Bandai, and it's all their fault for being so awesome. But anyway, once again, if you want to be in for a chance at winning both the dual model kit Optimus Prime as well as the absolutely awesome Gundarium tier real grade Nu Gundam, then all that info will be down there in the description. Basically, you're going to be deciding which is better, Transformers or Gundam. Let GEMR know. But anyway, as always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to come back for more model kit reviews, and I'll see you next time.